Welcome to Charter Local Edition. My name is Mary Roehr. Today our guest is Senator Curtis King. Senator King,
good afternoon,
has been with the Washington Legislature since 2007. He serves on the Rules Committee, the Transportation Committee, the Early Learning and K through 12 Committee, and also the Labor, Commerce, and Consumer Protection Committee. So welcome.
Right. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. One of the issues that you've been dealing with over the last couple of years is what to do with the Yakima Valley School. The Yakima Valley School, as you know, is one of 5 residential habilitation centers that the state operates for the developmentally disabled.
Mm-hmm. In the 4 years that I've been there, every year there's been an effort to close Yakima Valley School, along with Francis Haddon Morgan, another RHC. And we finally realized that sooner or later it was going to happen. And so we wanted to be proactive and make sure that we did everything we could for the patients that are currently there. And so this bill allows those patients, there's approximately 80 of them, to stay in that facility until they pass away. Now, that may seem like a long period of time, but I would tell you that 70% of those patients have been in that facility for longer than 25 years, some 30 and 35 years. So it allows them to stay there. It does a variety of other things in that it will assure that there will be respite beds there so that those who house their patients out in the community have a place to bring them so they get some relief. There will be a crisis team there, and there will be those patients that are there now. When it gets down to 16 or less, 2 of the cottages will be turned into what are called solas, which is a facility that's owned by a private individual or a company, but run by the state with state employees. And so we feel like we've managed to take care of those patients that are there now. The one drawback is that there will be no more patients added except for those for respite or for crisis care.
Yeah. Is what's driving this the cost of the RHCs?
Well, all of the care that are given those patients is fairly costly. I really don't think that there's much difference between the cost in an RHC or the cost in a community center or group home. I think they're fairly equal. The feeling now, which has developed over the years, is that the patients will thrive more so in more of a community setting than the current RHCs, and that's why you see the push to close, if not all, most of the RHCs.
And the families of the individuals who are in the RHCs, they were strenuously opposed to having their family members moved out of the RHCs because they've developed relationships, sometimes for decades, since they've been there with their care providers, and they said that it would be very traumatic for them.
That's true. The care providers in an RHC have been there a longer period of time. There's more turnover in a group home or even in a SOLA. But the consistency of care has been there, and as I've said before, in the Yakima Valley School, those patients have been there a long time, as have most of the employees.
Yeah, and one of the great services you had mentioned, respite care. So an example of that would be a family member who cares for someone who is developmentally disabled in their home, and they need some relief. And it could also be to also seek out other services, and that's something that the RHC does, right? Whether it's medical or dental care or maybe even psychological services, that they're able to access those services at the RHC.
That's true. At Yakima Valley School does have a small dental facility. Part of this bill will help us expand that to include other medical services for those with developmental disabilities and other medical needs. Like those, so that we can create a center where those patients can come and have their medical needs cared for.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Senator King, for sharing time with us today to talk about the RHCs. We know that that's an important issue and certainly something that you're very passionate about.
Right. Well, thank you very much for having me.
Thank you. This is Charter Local Edition. I'm Mary Roehr.